Good morning. I'm pretty sure it's actually like 2 in the afternoon. So good afternoon. Super late start today, but I can't really do anything anyways at the moment. I gotta move the motor, and then actually we'll move the car in after, and then I'll go over what we're gonna do with the car, as far as like chassis modifications and wiring harness and an intercooler and radiator and all that kind of stuff, just to get you guys like up to track on what I'm doing with it. And then I might actually start doing some stuff to it today. Like I had to patch some of the strut towers because, you know, S chassis, they always rot. So I'm halfway into it basically already, but then like it started getting cold out, so I started making space in the garage to move it in. Yeah, so that's it. I'll see you in a second. So we got the car into the garage, and we're working with a decent amount of space actually. I thought it would be way more crammed in here. I was able to move the motor into that corner on some wood, so I didn't scratch any of the paint and stuff. Let's go over the car itself. So far what I've done to it, there were a couple pretty big holes on the bottom of the strut towers on both sides. So this has been patched right here, and then that has been patched as well down there. This one also is down there. They're both basically symmetrical patches because I like the consistency of it. I'm still not fully done yet fixing them. I gotta go over a couple spots and still grind down some of the welds because I don't want it to be too atrocious as far as like view goes. You won't see most of it, but at the same time, I got OCD and I like having nice stuff, so might as well make it nice. Rad support doesn't look too healthy at the bottom, so we're going to address that as well. Either just clean it up, or if it's rotten, fix it. Just replace whatever I need to. The wiring. The S12 doesn't have any fuse boxes. It's got like a combination location there and one here, and each of them have 6 relays per side. Not a big fan of it. I think I'm going to leave that alone for now because it's not really in the way. So we're just going to tuck up the wiring a little bit there. For the chassis side, the engine harness. The engine harness is an absolute, I don't even know what you would call it. Somebody just got lazy on the engineering side. Engine harness starts at the ECU, goes up the frame, comes out there, and then back down the strut tower, up the strut tower, behind the booster, along the top of the firewall, and then connects to the motor. That's absolutely ridiculous. If you guys can see, there's a little hole there, so we're gonna go from the motor out there, out the frame, and into the ECU. That'll probably shed almost, I'd say, between 6 to 8 feet of wiring. Every time I've done it, it's usually around there.
And knowing is half the battle.
The battery trays do go bad. They got space issues and stuff, so we're gonna remove the battery tray completely, and I'll make a lower profile one that just attaches to the chassis better so it doesn't rust away. For the radiator, we're going to be running a Griffin core from a Scirocco, which is the whole point of me needing to do the radiator cap relocation, because it doesn't have one. It's going to be pretty tucked. It actually fits very beautifully in there. It has a lot of space to play with, so if I need to down the road, I can go to a bigger core option that they offer. For a intercooler, I'm not 100% sure if I'm still gonna go with this. I got it for 30 bucks off eBay. It's close to what I need, but not ideal, so I might either have it modified or I can just go buy a different one. So the front suspension is basically done. I just have to like button up a couple things as far as ride height once the motor's in and stuff. For the rear, we're gonna swap the diff to a 3.7 from a 300ZX. I'm going to throw, I believe, S13 rear coilovers and a specific spring of my choosing, and a BC Racing rear spring perch, because this is like IRS, but it's also separate spring and shock. I think we're also going to throw a Walbro 255 into it. I had a list. I don't know what I did with the list, but that's it for now. I might actually start removing some of the wiring and stuff at the moment, so I'll throw that up on the camera as well. So this is my Nissan. So now that I've gotten all the chassis wiring out of the way, you could see that it's a pretty atrocious thing. Um, so I'm gonna clean this up a little bit real quick, and then we'll figure out where the spot welds are. I think I see 2 there, and a couple along there, and there should be some down here. So I'm just gonna remove the whole battery tray right out of the way. Looking at it, it does dip down, which is why it's raised. So if I can just make it a flush mount system, and that'll just be way better. I'll be able to support a slightly bigger battery. Alright guys, so we got the battery tray cut out. It was kind of being problematic to me, so I just broke out the grinder and said screw it. I'm not too surprised that it looks like this underneath between the welds and stuff. I'm not a big fan of how Nissan spot welded their stuff back in the day, but hey, that was 35 years ago. What can you do, right? I want to take care of the radiator support and get that up. Also, I broke a bulb off camera. Unfortunately, RIP. One of the modifications I'm gonna have to do to the chassis is this is for the hood latch right here, this whole thing. So I'm going to have to brace that against the rebar itself to support the intercooler being there, because honestly it just doesn't fit with it. It's just in the way. There's a good chance I'm just gonna get some square tubing and just replace the entire rad support at the bottom. And to make some space, because I mocked up that intercooler, we're going to cut right here and down, so that way it's just a square tube that goes at the bottom, and this stuff doesn't really get in the way. So this crease is gonna go diagonally across there. It's gonna be a little difficult to do, but I think that's the best option. So you can see in here, I had to grind a couple spots and cut a couple things. I think I might cut this guy off right before I leave because it'll be pretty useless. And there is a small dent there in the rad support, and everywhere else basically. Like if you look, it's got some dents there and some dents there. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'll support the car and I'll just cut the top of it right off, and just weld in a square tube on top of the existing lower half of the support. Probably way stronger than what this is rated for. It would almost become a jacking point, to be honest, which would be cool. Great job on deleting the footage where you forget to explain how you're not going to get that deep into the core support, and segue into cleaning the rust onto the battery tray. This guy clearly isn't cut out for the job. Don't lie on your resume, folks. Okay, so little side note, this stuff stains a lot more but works pretty quickly, and this stuff works a lot slower but actually helps get rid of a lot more of the rust. I find this stuff you don't put on for a long time. I use both of them actually because I've got a pretty good combination of how I get the stuff to work, using an abrasive pad, and you just work it in by hand. So basically I put this stuff on, work it in, let it sit for a couple minutes, wipe it off. Then I'll put this stuff on, work it in, and wipe it off immediately because this stains way more. I'm not too worried about the staining because I'm going to paint the whole bay black before we put the motor in. And then after I'm done doing whatever I'm doing, because right now I'm going to cut up the rad support a little bit to make space and see how I wanna go about it, really. Before I leave, I will put this back on overnight, so that way it has like time to cure and actually work way more. But you can see with just the 2 coats, this is already turning black, all the rust here. I haven't worked it in fully into there yet, and wherever it's bare, won't, if there's no rust, it won't turn any color, but you can notice the instant staining difference between here and here. So just be careful with it on paint. I don't care because like I said earlier, I'm going to be painting the bay. It's like 1 in the morning, I'm still in the car. I decided to get a little carried away and I started cutting to where I wanted the rat support to go. I got both sides pretty much even. I think I'm gonna call it a day for now. It's getting a little late and yeah, it's getting really dusty in here because of all the rust and stuff, so I'd rather just tackle that in the daytime. The wiring harness is out, battery tray is out. I've started hacking into the lower rat support. Basically, I figured out that I'm going to replace the whole thing except for the very bottom of it so that I can locate the tension rod brackets. Tomorrow's another day.